A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen watching around the world. It's time for the quarterfinals in the EuroTour Women's Quarterfinals. Talking you through this match, my name is Arya Sorabi. We're watching Ina KAPLAN versus Bojana Šarac, who is representing Slovenia. Of course, this beautiful venue is located in Slovenia, hence called the Slovenian Open. As the ladies have just lagged, it seems like Bojana has won the lag. Both players will get to break twice each. You can follow all the action live on the two live stream tables we've got absolutely free for you on YouTube. If you head over to ProBilliardTV, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification button, and you'd be able to watch all the action live, provided with live commentary. Let's see how Ina KAPLAN gets this match on the way, as she will get 2 breaks to start off the match. Unfortunately for Ina, that was not a successful break. Nearly lost a cue ball. That would have even made the matters worse. As it stands, Bojana doesn't have a straightforward opening shot. Maybe the 1 is tempting enough for her to put it in the center pocket. She's got several options, long distance options. Let's see what she's going for. Yeah, she's opted for the long pot, and that's a great start. Well controlled the cue ball there. Placed it in a center line of the table to give herself multiple options. And I have to say, the solids do really look a lot more inviting to try and solve this puzzle. Of course, the 8 does need some care and attention, which is of course the most important ball, needless to say. That cue ball has just bounced high enough off the rail that she's got an angle to work with. She needs to decide whether she wants to punch it in through the gap between the 6 balls or go forward. Just like so. That was good enough. Options here: can take the 4 or even try and putt the 5. Of course, the 5 is a little bit in the way to get to the putting angle on the 2, so it's all about figuring out what is your preference. In this case, she will be going for the 4. As you can see, she's left herself a nice angle on the 6. If she can run into either of the 2 balls, whether it's the 2 or the 5, she should be able to leave herself another pot. This is the type of nudge that sometimes that can go wrong, but really if you try to play with a gentle speed rather than knocking them all over the place, you should be able to leave yourself some sort of a pot. So contact with either of the balls should be enough for her here. Yeah, hit the 2. Nicely done, well controlled. Also the pace was sublime there, and left herself a nice angle on the 5 to go up for the 2. And this is where the key part of this end part of the game will start, because first things first, putt this 5, leave yourself a nice angle on the 2, and then you need to be very precise as well with your cue ball. Interesting, as we get a little look of her technique. She's using a more square stance, as we would call that. If you can think of the snooker Hall of Famer Stephen Hendry, he was the first guy and one of the most well-known guys that used the square stance, where the foot, well, this time it looks a bit different from this angle, but it looked a little bit square. These are minor details, of course. Apparently, this is more than enough for her to see the 8 and get past the 12. So this 8 ball to steal the first break off of Ina. Yeah, well composed and actually a very impressive run out. I mean, the opening shot wasn't straightforward, neither were the layout, because she had some tricky positional shots to play, but she done well there. And one last thing, I noticed that she really composed herself nice on the 8 there and had a nice pause in her backswing. These are all very good indications that she is focused and well prepared. So let's see, once Ina gets a scoring opportunity, how she will go about the rack. Of course, the last of the pair of breaks coming up right away. This time she's gone full, more center line to get a better contact on the first ball of the pack. Ooh, that is the most devastating thing you can do in pool. Break the pack open and see your cue ball disappear. Such is the level worldwide, and particularly when you're at the latter stages of a big tournament like this. You can't really afford to make errors on your break. A dry break or a ball in hand after your break usually results in loss of the rack. In this inning, the 8 ball seems to be more open, so really it's all about keeping her composure. She's not rushing things, which is, I suppose, good to see if you're her supporter. And, you know, she's still sticking true to her mechanics and her pre-shot routine. It's just a matter of figuring out the pathway towards the latter 2 balls. See, taking out the 4 here in some cases would be ideal, but because you've landed straight on it, there's not a lot you can do with your cue ball. You're pretty much limited. Now, if she's about to take the 7, she might as well do after the 4, because it would be a similar type of angle anyway. In fact, she could manipulate the cue ball ever so slightly, so that's actually come off the rail a little bit more. As you can see, it's very clear what the pathway should be for the cue ball to play position on the 1 here. Should be well advised to not leave herself too thin on the 1. That way, controlling the cue ball on the 8 will be increasingly more difficult. Yeah, I like the pace she's played this. Maybe she's overran it, but in all honesty, I think from this point of view, it's a little bit easier to control your cue ball on the 8. rather than the other side being high on the 1. I'm not saying this can't go wrong, because there's a couple of balls in a way where she could hook her cue ball on the 8, so needs to make sure she can avoid running into a pathway, and this is not looking nice. This is not looking nice. Yeah. One thing I would say is she was a little bit hampered with a cueing on the cue ball because of the 8, and that also adds a little bit to the difficulty of the shot. As you saw there, it was a pretty tricky positional shot, and because there are 4 balls there, a lot of things that could have gone wrong, and eventually it did. Yeah. That's too bad, because she's basically had 2 opportunities to counter on the break of Ina. Ina, I'm sure, would be relieved that at least she's got a chance to get one of her breaking opportunities back. You don't really want to start off a match losing both of your breaks and then have to sit out and maybe watch your opponent break and run twice as well. And when you look at the layout, these are sitting pretty here. Not a lot of problems to solve. All of them are open, not even close to the rails. Both of our quarterfinalists, these ladies, have not yet lost a match on their way to the quarterfinals, so both of them are in good stride here. Ina making sure that she doesn't rush things. You can make your life a lot harder by taking these type of angles and these layouts for granted, and then all of a sudden you leave your cue ball in a very awkward spot, making things a lot harder for yourself. So she's right in taking her time and trying to make sure that she leaves herself a nice angle on this ball. I mean, it should be comfortable enough. I'm not saying it's unmissable, but she should be able to take care of this. Not a lot to do with a cue ball, just draw it back on the side rail, out in the open for the 8 in the same pocket. Just like that. As Ina pots the 8, she levels the score 1 apiece. Coming up, Bojana Šarac to break twice. Let's see what the first two breaks of Bojana will produce for her. Unfortunately, it's a dry break, and not even that is the worst case scenario. If you look at the spread of the balls, they're pretty nicely wide open, so you could consider this a great opportunity for Ina to counter on her opponent's break. That was unintentional, but nevertheless, that's actually made life a lot easier for her. Because that 11 was a little bit congested there between the 3 and the 7. Now that's also resolved, so she's got options here. Myself, I'd be inclined to take the 10. I mean, the 3 maybe is a blocker of both balls, but you'd be mightily unlucky not to leave yourself some sort of a shot on either the 12 or the 11. If you come a little bit higher between the gap of the 3 and the 7, depending on the angle, you could maybe even take the 11 first and then go for the 12, or 12 and then find a way back. I think it's also something she is considering. These type of situations, it's all about pace and also the portion of the ball you wanna use to play position. So in this case, she's played it a little bit thicker, take out the pace in the cue ball, and this is exactly what she was trying to do. She's left herself in an area where she could take both of the balls, and now I think it's a lot easier to take the 11 first. She can use the 6 as a blocker if she wants. Yeah, played it in such a way. Still in nice control here. Seems like she has to follow this through with a little bit of running side. So from her point of view, that would be top right. To come back in the open again. Needs to a little bit, just ever so slightly, be a little bit careful that she doesn't hook herself on the 8, because that is actually a big ball there. Yeah, nice wide and angle. Great shot. Not completely home and dry just yet. As you can see, the 13 is definitely blocking a pathway for the 15. And it's looking like she wants to take the 9 first. So she should be able to inject a little bit more speed in the cue ball. As you can see, she's a little bit limited with what she can do in terms of playing position on the 15. Might as well just gently roll this in. Just like so. Now here she needs to decide whether she wants to stun this 15 in, punch it a little bit off the side rail for the 8 in the left corner pocket, or she can run this cue ball through, but that way she is a little bit flirting with the 1 for the 8 in the middle. Yeah, took that risk factor out of the way. Nicely done. And by putting this 8 ball, she takes the lead by a rack for the first time in the match. Coming up, the second break of Bojana, hopefully for her a bit more successful than her first. It's 2-1 to the German Ina KAPLAN. if you paid close attention, the cue ball directly went really close to the middle pocket, which is an indication that she did not hit the first ball full in the face or full enough. So yes, I'm sure from her point of view she might feel a little bit disappointed or maybe even unlucky, but in all honesty, the cue ball did not hit the first ball full enough. First glance, both of the balls look inviting. I'd probably be tempted to take the stripes here. So it's all about getting nicely on the 11 if you're going for the stripes. That was a clever positional shot. I mean, she knew she would always have the 15 there hanging over the pocket. By using the reel, she's just developed this 14, green 14. And now, again, she's got multiple options to place her cue ball in. In a weird way, sometimes when the table is, when your cue ball is in such a situation where you have multiple options, it becomes even a little bit more tricky because you start to think, well, I could do this, I could do this. So you almost a little bit ahead of yourself. But she played an absolutely pinpoint position on the 11. She took the opportunity to get rid of what seems to be the only problem ball for her, the 11, knowing for well that she would always have the 15 again in the top right corner pocket. So also these are very good signs by Ina that she's thinking clear and also executing the shots nicely. Yeah, reaching for the bridge, as we call it. Now, over the years, some of the pool players are not too fond of using this piece of equipment, so these type of shots sometimes do catch them off guard. So I hope I've not jinxed her. No, nicely done. That cue ball needs to slow down. She's still fine here. She needs to decide here off the 10 what type of an angle she wants to leave herself on the 15. If she drops the cue ball on the top rail, she could use a full angle on the 15 to play position on the 12, I believe. This is still full enough to maneuver the cue ball. She could draw it back directly, so to the left side of the 12, or go around the back of the 12 using the side rail. Caught me a little bit by surprise, this shot here. And I mean, she's got the 12 in both of the corner pockets. She can pocket it in the right below corner pocket, but then the cue ball will go towards the 5, 2, and maybe even the middle pocket, which is a little bit risky. And also this is a blind pocket. In fact, both of them are. If she would have attempted it in the near the 4, I mean, what a great line she found there. She proved me wrong, definitely. I mean, she landed absolutely pinpoint precise on the 8. It wasn't an easy shot, but she made it look easy. So well done by Ina. 2 faultless games, and she gets the break now. 3-1 up. So Ina actually has just produced a successful break. So she's already carved out a small lead here. I mean, she can apply the pressure. As we saw the previous rack, she is in good shape here. Yeah, she's got options here. She can take the 2 or the 7, whatever pathway she prefers. I think she's a little bit anxious for the 7 because it's really occupied, although it's in the middle of the table, but you've got, let's say, 4 or 5 stripes that could potentially block the pathway in potting the 7. So this is probably one of the reasons that she is reluctant to peel out the 7 right here, right now. Left herself a nice angle here on a 3. She can cross over the table on the right side or the bottom side, as we look at from this angle. Anywhere towards the middle or the 3rd diamond should do the trick for her, or even the 1st diamond for that matter. Yeah, nicely done. Not a lot to do with the cue ball. She can just use this natural angle to play position on the 8. Maybe a smidge of side on the cue ball, just to absolutely guarantee she does not get too close to the 8, but this shouldn't cause her any problems. Once again, she's landed absolutely unmissable on the 8. Strong signs here by Ina. She's taking charge of this match. 4-1 now, the lead. As we get this beautiful overview camera angle, you can see the arena, 4 tables in operation, of course. The other quarterfinals still going on. I'll use this opportunity to give you a little quick score update, what's been going on the other tables. We've got Johanna Indlekhofer versus Christine Steinlager. Christine Steinlager leading that match 6-3, so she's moving along nicely. Vania Franco versus Melanie Susan Good. It's tied 2 apiece, and then on the other live stream table with live commentary from my dear colleague Graham, it's Arna Gradisnik playing Sandra Baumgartner. That is 2-1 in favor of Anna Gradisnik. Well, in fact, as you can see, the updated score, it's 3-1 now for Anna Gradisnik, as we get to see her break. As Bojana Šarac returns from her timeout, 6-minute timeout, it's the final of the 2 breaks for Ina at this inning. Just before she breaks, she just produced the first break and run of the match. I mean, it has to be said, the German participants are well represented in the quarterfinals. You know, for the 8 ladies in action right now in the arena, 4 of them are representing Germany. Just goes to show the strength in depth from Germany, and it's not only from the women's side. I mean, the men's side has always been for years that they've been playing at the top of the sport. Although that being said, unfortunately for Ina, this time around, she didn't manage to pot a ball off a break. So Bojana with an important visit here at the table. I mean, she's already 4-1 behind. If she could somehow use this opportunity and close the gap 4-2. She's got 2 breaks after that, so she could tie the scores within, let's say, 15 minutes from now. So this visit, in fact, is really important for her to keep her hopes alive in this match. Doesn't want to go 5-1 down. Yep. The only downfall of the previous shot is she was absolutely straight, so she couldn't really get a cue ball off the side rail. So this shot becomes a little bit more difficult because you're a bit limited in what you can do in terms of side spin. And she will get another chance to put a long distance shot here. Neither of them are particularly easy. And also the 9 being where it is really hampering her cueing, her bridge arm. So this shot here could really determine whether she goes on to clear the rack or not. So much so she's opted to take the cut on the 3 here. Nicely cued. Didn't overhit the cue ball there. And that, for me, is an indication that the player at the table is definitely confident in her technique, to say the very least. Because there's a lot of players out there that are not comfortable in rolling a ball over a distance. She did really well there. Yeah, once again, nicely controlled the cue ball. Played it in such a way that it's bounced high enough for her to even take the 6 before the 5 if she wants to. Spoiled for choices here. Either of the options would be more than sufficient. Landed a little bit lower on the 8 as intended. Just needs to make sure that she doesn't lose her concentration on this shot. And I must say, I sound like a broken record, but I do really like the pause she got on her backswing. There's not a lot that can go wrong in your cueing if you can keep it steady and draw your cue back. That was a very nice and an important reply there by Bojana. I mean, she took a timeout, and I don't know what she did in the meantime, but I will say one thing: she definitely stopped the rot, because Ina was threatening to run away with the match at that point. So she closes the deficits. It's now 2-4. She gets 2 breaks. Important for her to try and pot one of the balls here after a break to keep the momentum going. Be interesting to see where she puts her cue ball here. Yeah, pretty much straight and perpendicular on the first ball. So very important that she gets a full enough contact here. Doesn't want to see her cue ball drift towards the side pocket. She has scratched before on her break. Yeah, once again, the cue ball immediately after contact goes towards the side. And that's probably the reason she's not potted a ball yet on her break. It's a fickle thing. such as the level, it plays such a huge role in high level competition. If your break is not working for you, that could really be your downfall, because in all honesty she's not played bad at all, but she's still in a very bad position now. Once again, Ina back at the table with the opportunity to restore her 3-rack lead. Ina looking strong here. That just dropped. Little tap on the table to acknowledge she was a little bit fortunate there. Could have gone wrong. And what you'd see most times after such a relief situation, the player at the table will up the ante in terms of concentration. Sometimes when you rattle a ball, it is a wake-up call for your concentration, where you actually realize, oh, I can't really go full autopilot. Sometimes you just reset your focus. Yeah, strong stuff as ever by Ina here. I mean, it has to be said, ever since the beginning, yeah, maybe the first 2 breaks didn't really work out well for her, but that's obviously because she failed to pot a ball. But in terms of at the table attacking the balls, I'm yet to see a mistake by her, I believe. So yeah, she's with a commanding lead, 5-2 up by the German, and now she takes a timeout of her own. She'll get 6 minutes to get some beverage, or oh no, sorry, she's just updated the score. I thought she's taking a timeout. Bojana to break here, and this is a very important part of the match for her. I mean, I don't think she can afford to make any errors at this moment in time, because Ina is looking very, very strong. Let's see if she can get a nice foolish contact. Look, pay close attention to the cue ball. Yeah, again, it goes pretty swiftly towards the side, and that is an indication that you've not been hitting the first ball head on, and it's really bothered her chances for Bojana, because she has played well, but if you can't create chances on your break, it's always going to be a tough day at the office. And Ina has not shown any signs that she's about to slow down. If anything, I think she's only grown even stronger and better in this match. Seems to me that she can just get through the putting angle to putt the pink 12 here. And you look at the position of the striped balls here, it's already looking very ominous for Bojana. Didn't overcomplicate the positional side of the shot there. She's left herself a nice angle on this green 14. Just needs to make sure she pots it, and she would automatically land nice on the 9, because the cue ball is going away from the 9 just like so. And once again, she is also out there thinking clear, trying to leave the 10 there to play nice position on the 11. If she can land comfortably enough on the 10 where she doesn't have too much of an angle, playing position on the 11 would be a formality, you'd think. Yeah, the perfect angle on the 10 here. She can use the side rail here, trying to come around and see where to send her cue ball. It's anywhere between the second and the third diamond. That's the pathway. Once again, she's absolutely perfect. Nice in with tight control. I do apologize if you hear some church bells going on. I'm not doing commentary at a church, but as the church is really close to my house, you might hear some background noise. It is Sunday after all. And Ina pots the 8 once again. Solid stuff by the German. 6-2 up, gets the break. He's got the chance here to run out this match. Very, very solid indeed. Ina unfortunately failed to pot a ball off a break. Every visit from this point on forward is crucial for Bojana. She can't really afford making errors. Desperately wants to reduce the deficit here. Gonna attack the 7 first here. spotted that too a little bit thinner than would have been ideal. Although, you know, the angle she's left herself on the 6, she's got a lot of options in terms of positional side of this shot. It's looking like she will use some inside spin to go between the gap of the 10 and the 11, and that is nicely controlled. It's actually a shame that the break has been letting her down so far, Ben, because if you look how she is playing at the table, the cue ball control, the composure, even like how she executes the shots, she has been looking very solid. It's unfortunate that the break has not really served her anything in this match. It's a brutal sport sometimes. You can lose a game convincingly, and if you've not followed the match, you think, well, it was not evenly matched, but then when you actually judge them by what they do at the table, they've been playing really well. Having said that, she's just landed a bit awkward here with a cue ball. Needs to do some extra mileage now. This can go wrong. That third, yeah, nicely played. Didn't overhit the ball. Now, when she's down on the shot, pay close attention to the double pauses. One in front, where the tip of the cue is close to the cue ball, and then one when she draws her cue back. If you're starting out and you want to have a solid foundation, this is one of the key things if you're playing cue sports. If you can implement a pause right before you draw your cue back, as well as in your backswing, you could really create healthy habits, if you want to call it that. So she reduces the deficit. It's now 6-3 to the German, Ina, who gets the break once more. As Ina has opted to take her timeout, her one and only timeout that each player gets in the match. You can see that Anna Gradisnik is at the table, commanding league 7-1 up there. Meanwhile, let me give you another score update, what's been going on the other tables. As you've just seen in your screen, we do have a first semi-finalist, which is the name of Christine Steinlager, who beat her fellow German Johanna Indeklover. She won that match 8-3, so congratulations to her. She'll be back in action. All the upcoming matches, the semi-finals as well as the finals, of course, can be followed here on our channels, ProBilliardTV on YouTube, completely free and provided with commentary. The first semi-final is scheduled for 12:30 local time, so if you don't want to miss that, and if you're abroad, just make sure you turn on the notification button. You'll be notified as soon as we go live, and then you can tune in whenever you want. And the second of the semi-finals is scheduled for 3 o'clock local time, and then the final is scheduled for 5:30. A lot of pool to be played, of course, before we get to that phase, as we just wait for Ina to return to her chair and play her last of the 2 breaks. As we see Ina return to the table, her cue ball flirted with the middle pocket there twice, and for some miraculous reason she didn't scratch, and this layout is far from easy. You tend to think that the solids look a little bit easier, and if solids will be the path Bojana is taking on, then it seems like the 2 is the only realistic first shot option. Not completely unmissable, of course. Doesn't need to do anything fancy with a cue ball. The 1 and 4 combination is sitting pretty there for her. Here you can see another close-up of her technique. That's nicely played, the cue ball. Didn't overhit it. Played it in such a way that she can now actually get rid of the 3 as well, because that is also a little bit limited in terms of where she can pot it. And she could leave herself a nice angle here on the 1 and 4 combination to probably, if so desired, of course. Well, I was about to say that's going to be the next shot of the combination, but she went directly towards the 5, which is even better now, because the only problem with playing the combination on the 1 and the 4 from a higher angle, if you like, is you're gonna push the 1 away from the middle pocket. So this is clear thinking here by Bojana. Don't know whether she's gone high enough to see the 7. If that's not the case, now all of a sudden she is forced to play this combination on the 1 and 4. Yeah, I don't think she can see enough of the 7, so it will be the combination here. But luckily for her, she should be able to control the 1 after this combination. Just like that. Nicely played. Well controlled. Not completely out of the woods just yet. She's a little bit limited with her cue ball here, and that 11 seems like it's inevitable to run into it, so she might as well have to use the 11 from the left part of the ball, as we look at it from this angle, to try and play position on the 6 here. It's a very tricky shot. Maybe she can screw past the 11 if she puts the 1 thickish. For a second there she was contemplating to take the 7, the long shot on the 7. A lot more risk involved in terms of the difficulty of the shot, or at least for the putting side of the shot. Yeah, so she's used the 11 as a stopper to play position on the 6. She's still in control here. She's got options here. I mean, if you want to land on the 7 for the same corner pocket, this is a tricky shot that you could easily decelerate, or you can just screw this in off 2 rails, send your cue ball to the center line of the table and pot the 7 in the bottom left corner pocket. That way you can cue this ball a bit more positive. Oh, she's gone up and down, and by doing so she's just nudged into the 8. Funny enough though, that has opened the putting possibilities of the 8, so it's all about putting this 7 and making sure that you land in an area where you have multiple options. Bojana, the local hero here, definitely not giving up. As she puts the 8, she reduces the deficit. Now it's all of a sudden 4-6. She gets the break twice. So far the break has not served her well, so it'd be interesting to see whether she can make the adjustments and create some chances of a break. We'll soon find out. Well, as you can see, she is definitely looking for alternative ways to try and develop some chances of a break. So, is this the second ball break? I believe so. So she's aiming for the 7 here. Yep, she's done that. You know what? I like that. Of course, unfortunately, in this particular scenario, she has not putted a ball, but to be thinking clear out there and mixing things up, knowing that the break has not served her, these are all positive signs. Unfortunately for her though, didn't putt a ball. Ina probably using this opportunity to play position on the 12. Yeah, that was clear thinking by her. But funny enough, she's not really looking at the 12 just yet, so maybe she wants to get rid of the 14 first. I suppose it all depends whether the 12 does pass the 13. If it doesn't, maybe she's confident that she will get another opportunity to play shape on the 12. Well, the 12 definitely does not putt from this point, so she is a little bit running out of possibilities to play good position on the 12 here. I thought maybe she could use the 15 to play shape on it. Key shots coming up here. Get a nice angle, or at least a putting angle on the 12, and also after putting the 12, seems like running into the 3 is inevitable, so there's 2 good shots to be played here before she can clear her way towards the 8. Has she gone far enough? Well, I think she has, because she's down on the shot quite fast after that. Watch out for the cue ball here though. Yep, didn't overcomplicate the shot. Yeah, nicely done. Unfortunately for Bojana, she made a tactical decision by going for the second ball break, and the layout was far from easy, but Ina so far has been relentless. Puts herself on the hill, 7-4 up for the German, and safe to say she will get several opportunities, I should say rather, to close out this match, as Bojana is ready to break. Let's give you a little quick score update on the other tables. 7-2 in favor of Anna Gradisnik versus Sandra Baumgartner. Vania Franco is 6-2 up against Melanie Suzengut. Those are the other matches going on simultaneously. Bojana once again going for the second ball break here. Yep, this time nothing falls, but now the spread of the balls are even worse, so this is going to be a tough ask here for Ina. Has to be said, she's played pretty near perfect when it comes to attacking the balls. Barely missed a shot. If anything, she probably did not miss a shot, I don't know. Well, as you can see, the layout is really tough, so the work starts right here, right now. That's probably on me. I might have jinxed her. I told you she has played a near perfect set, and then all of a sudden she misses what seemed to be a pretty straightforward shot for her. Bojana making a tactical decision there by putting the solid for Ina and controlling the cue ball. She's limited the options for Ina. Of course, she does have a long pot here on the 7. It's fraught with danger. I mean, it's one of those, of course, from her position 7-4 up, she can afford to take a few risks here and there. Oh, rolled this in. What a great shot that is. For a second I thought she might go all out and try and develop the 1 and the 4 by running into the cluster of balls there, but she played it softly, and didn't she cue that well? But it's gonna be a safety shot after this. No putting attempt here. This is a part of the game that you usually only see in 8-ball, where it's a lot of tactics involved. I don't know about you if you're watching this, but I do find these type of situations once in a while very fascinating to follow. It's like you're watching a chess match. Both players are trying to bait one another to either take some risk or eventually trap them. Bojana with a chance here to clear the path. I mean, it was a nice attacking option there, but the 10 and the well, the 15 is not really a problem, but it's the 10 that is not sitting pretty here for her. Yeah, so maybe she can use the 15 to play position on the 10 here. If so desired, she could even try and disturb the two balls here. Not completely risk-free, of course, but you'd think if she can inject enough speed in her cue ball, she should be able to leave herself some sort of a shot on the 9. So what's her angle like on this 9? And I wonder whether the 10 does even pass the 5. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, don't know whether that's worked out well for her. I mean, well, she's definitely gone around to see whether this is even potable. Even if it is, it's always going to be a tough shot, because any sort of contact with the 10 and the 5, it will throw the putting line off rail. No, that's not gonna reach. So as it stands, Ina with a good chance here to close out the match, and I'm sure she'll be desperate to do so. I mean, you can really save yourself some aggravation if you can just close out the match. Only 5 balls to putt here to book her place in a semi-final. Yeah, see, the 5 in the corner pocket, this should be considered as a big pocket. I mean, whether she puts it directly or uses the side rail and goes off the 10, this really isn't too difficult. There you go, a great shot, and this can't go wrong either. As it has, she's landed glued on the rail, but that's actually worked in her favor, because now she's got an angle on this one to go away from the top rail, or bottom rail really. She can draw her cue ball back out in the open, where she leaves herself an option either on the 4 or the 6. Now she's going forward, so she's gonna use the side rail. Same mechanics really. She's run a little bit further than she would have liked, a bit closer to the rail than was necessary. This is pretty much the only shot that could go wrong, particularly if she wants to roll it in. But she done well there. And this is looking grim for Bojana Sarac, who, has to be said, has played really well throughout the match, but this break has not done her any favors. On the other hand, Ina KAPLAN with a very, very strong display, and if she can keep this level up, she'll be definitely one of the favorites for the title.